Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving headfirst into one of the wildest, loudest, most unapologetic muscle cars ever built. The Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. This thing, it's more than just a car. It's like a thunderstorm on wheels. Doesn't just turn heads, it practically snaps necks. So, our mission today, to really unpack the legend of the Hellcat. We'll look at its, well, surprising history, get into its mind-blowing performance numbers, how it stacked up against the competition, its mark on pop culture, and yeah, even a fun little Lego version you can build.
It's a great one to cover because this machine, it's really significant. It wasn't just about power, though there was tons of that. It sort of redefined muscle for the modern era in a way that felt almost rebellious.
Yeah, rebellious is a good word. Let's start back in the beginning then. The original Dodge Challenger debuted in 1970, right? Smack bang in the middle of that golden age of American muscle cars, you know, alongside the Mustang, the Camaro, the Firebird.
Exactly. Classic formula. Long hood, short rear deck, powerful V8s under the hood.
That first generation, 70 to 74, you could get some serious engines, like the 440 cubic inch six-pack V8, that's what, 7.2 liters?
Huge. Pushing out 335 horsepower. Pretty stout for the time, could do 0-60 in about 6 seconds.
But that era didn't last forever.
No, it faded pretty quickly in the 70s. You had stricter emissions laws coming in. Insurance costs for these powerful cars were just skyrocketing. And then the big one, the fuel crisis. It just made those thirsty V8s less practical, less desirable for many.
So the Challenger nameplate got shelved.
Yeah, retired in the early 80s. It really reflected a big shift in what people wanted and what manufacturers could, viably produce.
The legends don't stay buried forever, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward a few decades.
Right. To 2008, Dodge brings the Challenger back, and they did it smart with that retro styling.
Definitely tapped into the nostalgia. Looked a lot like the 1970 original, but obviously with modern tech underneath.
But 2015... that was the game changer. That's when Dodge unleashed the SRT Hellcat. And it felt like they were almost trolling the industry, dropping a supercharged 6.2-liter HEMI V8 under the hood.
The number was just insane.
707 horsepower. I mean, it was so far beyond anything else in its class at that price point. It just reset everything.
And the name Hellcat.
Yeah, that came from the Grumman F6F Hellcat, World War II fighter plane, known for speed, power, dominance. Pretty fitting, really.
And Dodge didn't stop there, did they? The horsepower just kept climbing.
Yeah, they kept pushing. You got the 2019 Hellcat Red Eye with 797 horsepower.
Then the Demon.
The Challenger SRT Demon, yeah. A total drag strip monster, 840 horsepower on race fuel. Just nuts. And eventually, by 2023, some limited runs were hitting, like 125 horsepower. It got truly wild.
It's kind of sad, though, that the V8 era for the Challenger is over now.
It is, yeah. Production ended in 2023. Dodge is moving towards electrification like everyone else, it seems. But the Hellcat's legacy, that's definitely etched in burnout rubber forever. No question.
Okay, let's talk performance then, because the numbers themselves are just staggering. The standard SRT Hellcat.
Yeah.
6.2-liter supercharged HEMI V8. Started at 707 horsepower, later bumped to 717. And the torque?
Around 650 pound-feet, later 656. Just massive twisting force.
And what does that actually do on the road?
Well, it means speed. Lots of it. 0-60 mile per hour in around 3.5 seconds. Later models dipped to 3.4, quarter mile. Just over 11 seconds, stock. And the later ones could dip into the high 10s, like 10.8 seconds at over 130 miles per hour.
And the top speed?
Governed, but still a crazy 203 miles per hour.
But here's the thing, right? It wasn't a tiny, lightweight sports car.
Not at all. That's key. It's a big car, comfortable. You can actually fit 4 adults in it. Weighs around 4,400 pounds.
That's why a heavy hitter.
Definitely. But when you put your foot down...
oh, man.
That supercharger whine kicks in, the exhaust roars. It honestly feels like you've strapped yourself to a rocket. It's just pure raw acceleration.
How do they manage all that power? It must have needed some serious hardware.
Oh, absolutely. Huge Brembo brakes. We're talking 15.4-inch rotors up front. It could stop from 60 mile per hour and under 110 feet, which is impressive for its weight. Plus, adaptive suspension, launch control for getting off the line cleanly, and even line lock.
For the burnouts.
Exactly. You got to be able to do a proper burnout in a car like this. It's practically required.
Fuel economy probably wasn't top of mind for buyers.
No. Definitely not. Maybe 13 miles per gallon in the city. 22 on the highway if you're a really gentle, thirsty beast.
Then they brought out the wide-body version in 2018.
Right, and those flared fenders weren't just for looks, although they did look mean. They allowed for wider tires, extra rubber on the road, helped, actually put some of that power down, especially when cornering. It helped tame it a bit.
Made it a bit more manageable.
A bit. Still a handful, but better grip. And then you had the even crazier versions like the red-eye 797 horsepower, 707 pound-feet of torque, shaving even more time off runs, and the Demon, of course. Plus, features like the SRT performance pages let drivers tweak settings, for track days, adjust throttle, suspension, stuff like that.
So when this monster arrived, how did it actually compare to its rivals? The Mustang Shelby GTs, the Camaro ZL1s.
That's where it gets interesting. They all had really distinct personalities.
Power-wise, how did they stack up? Let's say the Hellcat Red Eye versus the top dogs from Ford and Chevy around that time.
Okay, so Red Eye, 797 horsepower. The contemporary Camaro ZL1 had 650 horsepower. The Mustang Shelby GT500 with its 5.2-liter Predator V8 had 760 horsepower. So the Red Eye had the most horsepower, torque. The Hellcat Red Eye's 707 pound-feet actually tied the GT500 and absolutely crushed the ZL1 650.
So for drag racing, Hellcat territory.
Pretty much. It was a straight-line monster. That massive torque, especially with the wide body's extra traction, it often won those battles. Car and Driver tested them back in 2020. The Hellcat Red Eye did 0-60 in 3.5 seconds, quicker than the GT500's 3.6 and the ZL1's 3.7 in that test.
But what about corners, when the road got twisty?
Yeah. Different story there. The Camaro ZL1, especially the 1LE version, that was often considered the handling king. It had GM's magnetic ride control, fancy aero bits, super sticky tires. It just felt more planted, more agile.
So in that same test,
the ZL1 1LE actually won overall because it was so balanced. The GT500 came second, a really good all-rounder, fast everywhere. The Hellcat came in third on the track. It was just heavier, over 4,400 pounds, remember, compared to the GT500 at under 4,200 and the ZL1 just under 300 to 900 pounds.
So the weight and maybe a less sophisticated chassis held it back on track.
Yeah, it tended to understeer more. It just wasn't as precise or nimble as the others when things got technical.
Which really speaks to its character, right? It wasn't trying to be a track scalpel.
Exactly. It was about brute force, attitude, presence. More like a grand tourer that happened to have a dragster engine bolted in.
Yeah, it was still pretty comfortable for daily driving, right? Big trunk, decent space inside.
Totally. You could genuinely use it every day, assuming you could afford the gas.
What about price? How do they compare there?
They were actually pretty close, surprisingly. A base Hellcat started around $70,000 back then. The ZL1 was similar, maybe $72,000. The GT500 was a bit pricier, often starting over $80,000. So the choice was clear, really. Hellcat for the raw power and the statement it made. ZL1 for track day precision. GT500 for maybe the best blend of both.
Let's shift gears a bit. Talk about its cultural impact. Classic Challengers were already movie stars, like in Vanishing Point or Death Proof.
Oh yeah, huge cinematic history there. And the modern Hellcat absolutely carried that torch. You started seeing it everywhere. TV shows, car, YouTube channels blowing up with Hellcat content, and definitely Hollywood action movies.
Any specific examples come to mind?
Well, there was that Liam Neeson movie, Blacklight, in 2022. A Hellcat had a pretty central role in some big chase scenes, and just the sound. That deep HEMI rumble and the supercharger whine became instantly recognizable. It has a sonic signature.
It definitely became shorthand for badass car in movies, like in the Fast and Furious films.
Absolutely. Don Toretto, Vin Diesel's character, drives a black 2015 Challenger SRT in Furious 7. Then later, in F9, he's got a 2020 Charger Hellcat widebody. It fits the character perfectly.
And wasn't there one in Nightcrawler? That Jake Gyllenhaal thriller?
Yeah, he drove a red 2014 Challenger SRT in that, tearing through L.A., even popped up in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Out of the shadows, he just kept appearing.
You mentioned his sound. It also made waves in music, right?
Hugely, especially in American rap culture. The Hellcat gets name-dropped constantly. It became this massive status symbol. It represents that loud, fast, unapologetic success. It's a car that shouts, "I've made it."
Did that translate to sales? Was it actually a success for Dodge?
Oh, massively. It was a sales juggernaut. It really helped revive not just the Challenger, but the whole muscle car segment, which was facing pressure from SUVs and EVs. In fact, the Challenger overall often outsold the Mustang and Camaro in certain periods. Like Q2 of 2022, it actually beat the Mustang in sales.
Wow. And the Hellcat models specifically?
They sold way better than Dodge initially expected. I think in 2016 alone, they sold over 4,000 Charger Hellcats and even more Challenger Hellcats. Part of the appeal was that accessibility, relatively speaking. You got hypercar power figures for, not hypercar money.
Plus that cultural cool factor.
Exactly. It became the car to have for a certain crowd. And they fueled that with special editions, like the jailbreak models that let you customize colors and trims like crazy.
But sales eventually slowed down.
Well, Naturally, as production wound down towards the end in 2023, sales dipped. I think they were down nearly 50% by 2025 compared to the peak years. But that's expected as a model cycle ends.
Okay, so maybe we can't all afford the real deal or the gas bill. But there's a fun alternative, right? The Lego version.
Huh. Yeah, the Lego Speed Champions Hellcat. It's actually pretty cool. Set number 77237, I think.
What's it like? Does it capture the look?
It really does. For a small Lego model, it nails the key features. That wide stance, the aggressive hood scoops, the overall shape is instantly recognizable. It's sticker-free, too, which is nice. Just a few hundred pieces. There was an older set, too, that had the SRT Demon and a classic Charger. Perfect for, desk racing.
Even in Lego form, it looks mean.
Totally. Still looks ready to race, even if it's just across your coffee table.
So bringing it all together, the Hellcat, it's just unapologetic, isn't it?
That's the perfect word. It was never trying to be subtle or eco-friendly or sensible in any traditional way.
It was just a loud, proud love letter to horsepower.
Exactly. Pure, unfiltered horsepower. And that's why it stands out so much, why it matters in car history. It's the kind of car that just makes you grin every single time you hear it start up, every time you see one.
Even as the car world changes, goes electric.
Right. Even in this age of EVs and smaller engines, the Hellcat proved there's still a huge appetite for something wild. Something loud, maybe a little bit outrageous. It left a massive mark. Indelible, really.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive on the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. We went from its classic 1970 roots all the way to those insane 1,000-horsepower figures. Talked about its battles on the street and screen, its place on the drag strip, and even its spot on Lego shelves. It really is a modern muscle car legend.
It definitely is. And it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? As we head into this electric future, what does the Hellcat's whole vibe, that unapologetic chase for power, tell us about our own desire for just raw exhilaration, that appeal of the analog, the mechanical? And maybe the bigger question is, how will future muscle cars, whatever form they take, capture that same kind of passion, that visceral feeling, without that thundering V8? It's going to be interesting to see.